This is One on One.
Brought to you by
Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey.
Welcome to the Tisch WNET studio right here in Lincoln Center. It is our honor to have all the way from Cleveland, Ohio. People won't recognize you from Cleveland.
You got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, you got to come from somewhere, but now they recognize you. Michael Symon, chef, restaurateur, and co-host of The Chew on ABC, which is actually right across the street, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And author of this book. Do you mind if I plug your book?
No, that'd be great. I love a good
Michael
plug.
Symon's 5 in 5 for every season, 165 quick dinners, side holiday dishes, and more. Hey,
pretty good.
What are you not doing these days? I mean,
man, I stay busy. I like to stay busy. We're, myself, my wife Liz, and our other partner Doug Petkovic, we have operate 19 restaurants that we've opened over the past 20 years. Do The Chew every day for, on ABC, which is fantastic. And then I still have my Food Network show, Burgers, Brew, and Q. So I like to go.
You really do.
I don't like to sit still.
When you were growing up in Cleveland, by the way, I just asked you because I always joke about this. People complain about how cold our studio is, and you said you did Letterman back in, not too long ago, right?
Yeah, about 10 years ago now, I guess.
His studio, colder than this.
So cold.
How cold?
So cold, I could see my breath. I could take food out of a pan that was on fire, and you could freeze it within seconds.
Nice.
This is nice.
This
feels
balmy,
good.
Right?
Balmy.
Okay, so
balmy.
Cleveland, growing up in Cleveland,
Yep.
You said you go to Browns games.
Absolutely.
You didn't have the whole dog pound thing.
I didn't.
Right?
No, I didn't paint my face, but I was in the pound. I used to have tickets in the pound. Now
what? You got
we're slightly older now, so now we have a suite.
You got the cash floor
much more comfortable. No, we just do food for the Browns, so they let us have a suite.
That's right. You did a food for that. That's even better. Yeah. When you were growing up, was this the dream, or did the dream develop?
No. I was a wrestler growing up, a pretty good wrestler.
Had high school and college?
High school, and had a horrific injury in college, or in high school. Lost my scholarships to college. My dad worked at Ford Motor Company, so I had to get a job to help pay for school because my scholarships went away, and started working in restaurants. Fell in love with it.
What'd you love about it?
I loved I was never the greatest student, but the something about the flow of the restaurant business, the quickness, the spontaneity, the enjoyment people would get after they would eat, all those things was very magic to me, and I just fell in love with the business. And my father has more degrees than a thermometer, so when I told him, in 1986 that I wanted to go to culinary school. Back then, there was no Food Network. There was no celebrity chef. Julian Jacques cooked on television. Very few others. He wept. I mean, that wasn't what he wanted.
PBS.
Yeah,
you meant.
Yeah, back in the day.
Right.
Yeah,
it was PBS. Right.
PBS. And so he was very upset. Took him a long. He made me go to college. I got like a 0.8. And then, I have a Greek mother.
That was possible.
It's not easy to do. I'm an overachiever.
And you had a Greek mom. I interrupted. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but a Greek mom. So, I said, Mom, I just want to go to culinary school. And Greek mothers with their boys, they will do anything that their boys want. So she convinced my dad to let me go to culinary school. And went to Culinary Institute of America, and here I am.
So here's the thing. On The Chew, who's your cast?
Myself, old dear friend Mario Batali, Carla Hall, Clinton Kelly, and Daphne Oz. So there's 5 of us. We sit around a table, we cook, we kibitz, we interview people. It's a lot of fun.
Not scripted.
Unscripted.
Totally spontaneous.
Yeah, totally spontaneous. There's there's ins and outs that you can read, but you don't need to. It's totally spontaneous show. I love it.
Did you think to yourself, hey, I'm going to be hosting a network show every day? No?
No, never in a million years.
How'd they get you?
I remember I went to culinary school to be a chef, to be a tradesman, and I started doing things on the Food Network in 1998. Food and Wine named me Best New Chef in America. At that time, Food Network was just starting up. They gave me a show. I co-hosted a show called The Melting Pot. Been doing things with Food Network ever since 1998. And then one of the people that used to produce a lot of shows on the Food Network, Gordon Elliott, got this show here on ABC, and he asked me if I'd had any interest to be a co-host of the show. Came in and read, like Mario and I came in and we read together, and we were laughing because we'd known each other.
What do you mean you read together?
Well, we had known each other for 15 years, and they just brought like a bunch of people in and kept putting 5 at a table to see who meshed. And Mario and I were like, is it me? or you, or me and you. Like, it'd be really fun if we were both here together. And we ended up both getting chosen to do the show.
You guys are real friends.
Oh yeah, we've been friends forever. So like him and I knew each other long before we did the Chew, but the other three hosts we all met, the first day of rehearsals.
What do you think it is? I mean, the Food Network obviously has blown up. It's, what do you think it is that draws so many people to cooking on television?
Well,
is it the cooking or the people, and the cooking and the people? What is it?
I think it's both. I think, everybody eats, so it definitely hit a chord in America. And a long time ago, it was you would just find cooking shows on PBS or shows like that. And when the Food Network came along, and I always say it was the Emerald moment, something magic happened when got up there and bam,
Was it bam?
Well, the story behind Bam is when he used to tape The Essence of Emerald, back in the old Food Network days, we would do 5, 6, 7 shows in a day, one after another live to tape. And the camera guys...
Kind of like around here, but
the camera guys would fall asleep. So Emerald, to wake
Kinda
them
like
up,
around,
would go bam!
And like... Did he say boom to get them wake them up?
To wake them up, and it became like this big...
That's why we have robotics here, right? You're saying that Emerald would go bam to wake up camera people?
Yep.
You're making that up.
I'm not making it up. It's he's told the story before. It's a true story because we shared a lot of the same cameramen, so it's a true story.
Well, we have the best camera people here at Public Broadcasting. But here's my question to you. When he's doing that, do you envision that, okay, that's happening, and he's a great personality,
Right.
that it's ever going to be this?
No, I laugh about it still. It's still comical to me. I mean, I still think of myself as a chef.
Really? As a chef?
Absolutely, as a chef first. Always a chef first.
Not a television personality?
No. Husband first, then chef, and then I do television. And I've been fortunate enough to be on television doing something I really love.
What's the meat thing? Love meat. What's the network? Burgers?
Burgers, Brew, and Q. Most
Q.
of our restaurants are very meat-centric.
Why?
I'm a Midwestern boy, my wife's a vegetarian. People in the Midwest think that's a disease.
Hold on. Are you serious?
Yeah, I swear. Yeah.
Your wife's a vegetarian?
Yeah.
How does that work out?
Hey, it works out great. My son's actually vegetarian too. It's good because it gives me some balance. Because as Liz likes to say, left to your own vices, you would just live on steak, smoked brisket, and ribs. You'd probably make it to 50 if you were lucky. Right?
There it is.
So like with her vegetarian lifestyle, it kind of gives me a little bit of balance, which is good.
Are you looking for the best burgers? Does that mean something to you?
Yeah, I think looking for the best anything means something to me. I love when you go to a restaurant and whether it's something as simple as a burger, or as elegant as a restaurant like per se,
right.
that the people doing it are putting their heart and soul in it to create something that gives you that magical bite. And I think any level of food could do that, from an inexpensive burger to a $300 tasting menu.
Tell me about this book.
This is my second 5 and 5. It's my fourth cookbook, second 5 and 5. And it really came up with
What does that mean, 5 and 5?
5 ingredients, 5 minutes, under $5. So the first segment we ever did on the Chew, season 1, show 1, first segment, was a segment that I came up with called 5 and 5, and it became a big hit. And the lesson that I learned is after doing quote unquote fancy food all my life in my restaurants on Iron Chef, all those kind of things, it was really refreshing to me to come up with a concept that like people watched and then they made for their families that night. And that's really what 5 and 5 was. It was 5 simple ingredients, 5 minutes, $5. So you don't have to go get fast food to feed your family or buy some processed, frozen, weird food. You could actually take these fresh ingredients and get a meal on the table in quick fashion for not a lot of money.
People watching right now, someone who says to him or herself, I want to be a chef. Do people ask you all the time?
Yeah.
Or say, I want to be like you?
Yeah, I think, now I think a lot of people want to, like when I ended up on cooking on television, it was by accident. I was good at my career and it moved into TV. I think a lot of people now want to learn how to cook to be on TV, which I think is like myself, Bobby Flay, Emerald, Mario, Mink side, people like that. We were chefs that ended up on television.
As opposed to?
Trying to be on television because you could cook stuff.
Is that, I don't want to say it's backwards.
It's to me, it's a little bit backwards. I would say the people that want to be a chef, it's like anything else. If you're passionate about it, you'll succeed. But, you know, I tell people all the time, I've been lucky to be relatively successful in this field. But, you know, I was last week in Cleveland opening a new restaurant.
Yeah, name that new restaurant.
The new one's called Mabel's Barbecue.
Mabel's Barbecue.
Yeah, so but I worked 18 hours a day for 21 straight days.
On your new place?
Yeah.
How much pressure do you feel at your level of success? Put that picture up. That's Mabel's.
Oh, that's Mabel's, yeah.
So let me ask you something. With you're ridiculous when you talk about relative level of success. With your extreme level of success, with Mabel's, how much do you feel, hey, I'm feeling this?
Yeah, I always tell people that the people are like, do you worried about getting reviewed? Do you worry about the critics? Do you worried about, and my response truly always is, no one will expect more out of our food or my restaurants than me. No one. No one's expectations are going to be higher. No one's going to demand more. No one's going to want those things more than I do. So we're always going to put our best foot forward, and then we see what happens.
Quick question. I'm going to ask you about your charities in a second. As a student of leadership myself, who expects an awful lot of the people around here who are just exceptional leaders, and I'm curious, your number one leadership lesson is?
I mean, we say it all. You're only as good as your last plate. You know, in the restaurant business, it's like, you know, just because you did one perfect 10 minutes ago doesn't mean you shouldn't do one perfect now. So I don't think perfection could ever be attained, but it's something that you should always work for. My wrestling coach growing up, Howard Ferguson, who was an incredible inspiration to me, he always said, practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. And his whole thing is you could do something a million times. If you don't do it 100% and you don't do it right, it's not going to make you better. If you practice perfectly, that will lead you in the direction of perfection.
One more before I let you go. You're committed to certain philanthropic charitable work. Go.
Autism Speaks is a big one for me. It's affected people close to me. It's near and dear to my heart. And then there's one in Cleveland that we really, really get behind called Urban Community Schools. It's a inner city project with inner city kids and special kids that are doing special things.
Listen, I want to thank you for joining us. You do great work. You inspire a lot of people, and you're a great guest to talk to.
Thank you.
And this is the book, Michael Symon's 5 and 5 for every season, 165 quick dinners, sides, holiday dishes, and more. Thank you for joining us, Michael. Stay right there.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back right after this from the Tisch WNET studio here in New York City.
I work for Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I'm a catastrophic case manager. I'm a nurse. I feel a sense of responsibility to each and every member that I speak with on the phone. I know where they live, I know their towns, I know the hospitals they go to. A lot of times I know their physicians, and I love helping people at very difficult times of their lives. The job I have now is the perfect job for me. I think I was born a nurse.
Also brought to you by New Jersey Resources,
New Jersey Council of County Colleges, and by the New Jersey Education Association.